Good afternoon, ladies. My name is Jack Broderick. I'd like to welcome you to a Girls Women's Self-Defense program today. Our focus today is to prevent violence against women. Whenever we're looking at a successful women's self-defense program, there is one outcome: escaping from attacks. Part of the way we do this is to break any cycles of abuse that may be occurring in your daily life. Living, learning, saying no when your personal female intuition, your gut says this is wrong. That helps establish your self-defense reality. Here's a quote to live by. No one has the right to injure, abuse, oppress, enslave, insult, torment, torture, or kill you. That pretty much says it all. This is from the Janus religion a couple thousand years ago, and I think it's very relevant today. Whenever we're looking at your self-defense, in an ideal world, we have the hope that we would all just get along. The reality is that bad things happen to good people. Females are attacked, beaten, robbed, and raped every day. To me, this is unacceptable. Let's change it, one female at a time. A girl's best friend forever self-defense requires thinking out of the box if we're going to be effective. Why? Because women are not men. Yet virtually all self-defense programs teach women to fight like a man. Why do they do this? Because they do not have the benefit of a female perspective, where I have listened to the thousands of my female clients over the years, which has helped produce this video. Females bring a testosterone or an estrogen reference to all self-defense. Unfortunately, it's estrogen. I'm voting for less nurture and a little more testosterone, a little more aggression. A girl's best friend self-defense focuses on changing your thoughts. Once we change your thoughts, self-defense behaviors will follow. The goal is escaping from sexual assault. We do this by implementing deception, surprise, and lethal intent single counterstrike. This will facilitate escaping from your attack. Positive mental imagery is what differentiates our program from the thousands of other programs available. You visualize your counterstrikes. We form foundational skills for totally incapacitating our attacker and then escaping. Positive mental imagery is the safe practice that then builds into physical practice. Remember, we do not train you to fight like a man. We do not have rage escalation with ineffective kicking, screaming, yelling. By using deception, surprise, and lethal intent, I promise you, your attacker never saw your singles counterstrike. One outcome, you escape from your attack. The three phases of mental, physical self-defense: deception, using a controlled perception, fooling your attacker into thinking you are fearful, you're helpless. We use light struggle, distraction without escalation. Surprise is the implementation of a violent counterstrike when least expected by your attacker. Lethal intent is a degree of response to attack without any hesitation or pity for our attacker. Sun Tzu explains it best on the bottom. All welfare is based upon deception for creating a lethal female that is capable of self-defense. Skills. We only teach 7 simple counterstrikes. Simplicity of form. Look at the petite and pointed elbow short spear that our 90-pound victim is launching against her 200-pound attacker. The targets, the throat of the solar plexus. Striking either one of these with just one single counterstrike will totally incapacitate your attacker and you successfully escape. Let's look at awareness for a moment for crimes against women. We have the danger stranger myth, where it's the nasty person in the alley, the pervert behind the bush, that is responsible for attacking women. This is true, but most of the rapes are committed by someone you know. 73% of all attacks against women. 38% were from someone you knew, a friend or an acquaintance. 28 were from someone you were intimate with, and 7 were from relatives. So increase your awareness for the people you know. There's an art to self-defense. Through PMI, positive mental imagery, the artistry requires free thinking and individual creativity. Our victim on the left is showing right now deception. She's pretending to be helpless and unbalanced. What she's really doing is taking a deep breath, closing the distance as her attacker grabs her on the right, and seeing what her single target is. In this case, it's a single eye scoop. We follow simplicity of form, one single counter strike. And you're thinking right now, I could never gouge out someone's eye. That's terrible. That's offensive. Here's a counter thought for you. This is my idea of offensive. This is my idea of terrible. This victim said, I did not know what to do. I kicked, screamed, and hit, and I almost died. We can do better than this. Your self-defense plan is unfolding. Increased personal awareness is what I'm advocating with our video today. Your self-defense is your responsibility. As you look at this left-hand picture, what is your one-word thought? It's probably something negative, like I hope this never happens to me. This is terrible. This is sad. What do I do? So we're changing thoughts. And as we change thoughts, we'll change behaviors. We're looking at vulnerable targets. That is our only thought. Trust your female intuitions. You know when it's time for WSD, Women's Self-Defense. You are getting ready. You're grabbed. What is your self-defense response? The automatic reaction is to pull away with ineffective struggle. What we're going to do, because we are mentally strong from mental and physical rehearsal, is we are closing the distance. As we're being pulled into our attacker, we simply lift our forward leg and drive our heel into the top of his ankle. We just ruptured the ligaments, lower right-hand picture, that hold the ankle together. With what? With a hammer. That's what your ankle is. We can no longer pursue you if our ankle is shattered. You are approached, close distance, and a single incapacitating punch. Left slide, extended knuckle to the throat. Right side, a reverse punch to the chest. Either one of which will render your attacker incapacitated. Here's what it looks like. Extended knuckle to the throat. Maybe you have long fingernails. You can certainly just bend your fingers and drive your knuckles into the throat. Reverse punch to the solar plexus. Both of these will incapacitate your attacker. Look at the windpipe for the extended knuckle. 5 pounds of pressure and you can no longer breathe. Hitting right below the rib cage into the organs in the heart, incapacitating your attacker. He's dropped to the ground because it's a non-protected, weak area. Never focus on what's strong. Always focus on what's weak, approaching you, and immediately vulnerable. We're hardwired for fear. Through positive mental imagery practice, we won't have the response we're showing on the left. Instead of being paralyzed with fear, seized with ineffective rage, and lacking a plan, we now know what to do because we've experienced and understand our feelings, we've had hands-on practice, and our brain is now doing one thing, asking what target is vulnerable. Recognize on the bottom, your mind is the product of 1,000 yesterdays. New thoughts starting today. Visualizing your attacker. They're no longer a person. They're a violent savage. You validate, I am being attacked by a savage monster. What are my targets? What is my strategy? We have two options. You don't know what you don't know because you're not skilled, or you've practiced deception a microsecond or longer, initiated a surprise strike to the weak areas, the eyes, the throat, the ankle, with lethal intent for a single counterstrike. The outcome, the attacker never saw it coming. Starting now, internal power and strength. The left-hand picture is no longer acceptable. Let's hear your no, that you will no longer tolerate any type of abuse. Thank you very much for looking at our video today. In closing, I want you to remember, never paranoid, but always aware. your girl's best friend self-defense program, is ready for you. Look at the lower left-hand picture. This is paralyzed with fear. Look at the right picture. How vulnerable is this attacker? All we have to do is step forward and shatter that advanced ankle. My name is Jack Broderick. I would love to hear from you. Schedule a workshop in your area. You can contact me at fittinc@aol.com, FITTINC@aol.com. Thank you very much for your time today.